Do you start your day with a cup of coffee? You're not alone in this morning ritual. Across the globe, from the bustling cities to the quiet countryside, millions of us share this common morning routine. We groggily shuffle out of bed, guided by the promise of that sweet, aromatic brew waiting for us in the kitchen. The comforting scent of freshly ground beans, the soothing sound of the coffee maker, and that first warm sip that seems to kickstart our day. It's a ritual as much as it is a necessity. Coffee, that much-loved beverage, has been the subject of several debates recently. There are those who swear by its energizing effects, claiming it to be the secret source to their productivity. On the other hand, there are those who argue against its consumption, citing potential harm to our health. The discussions are endless, covering various aspects from its impact on our sleep to its effect on our mood. But today, we're focusing on one specific aspect: the morning cup of coffee. It's a question that has been brewing for some time now. Is that first cup of coffee in the morning doing us more harm than good? We've all heard that moderation is key when it comes to caffeine, but what about that first cup of the day? The answer, as it turns out, isn't as simple as a yes or a no. It's a complex brew of factors, influenced by everything from our individual body chemistry to our lifestyle habits. And to get to the bottom of it, we need to delve into the science behind our beloved beverage and understand how it interacts with our body first thing in the morning. So, as you sit there with your favorite mug, savoring the rich aroma and taste of your morning coffee, we invite you to join us on this exploration. We'll be talking to experts, dissecting studies, and hopefully, by the end of it, providing you with a clearer picture of your morning coffee ritual. We've all heard that moderation is key when it comes to caffeine, but what about that first cup of the day? Stay tuned as we pore over the details in the coming scenes. Clinical dietitian Kanika Malhotra and Dr. Pranav Honavara Srinivasan shed some light on the effects of morning coffee. When we jumpstart our day with a cup of coffee, explains Malhotra, caffeine quickly finds its way to the receptors that stimulate our bodies. These receptors are also home to a compound called adenosine, which is displaced by the caffeine rush. This sudden displacement causes adenosine levels in our system to rise. As the caffeine effect wears off, the stored adenosine rushes to reconnect to the receptors, causing an unexpected bout of drowsiness. This phenomenon is often referred to as rebound tiredness, a sudden drop in energy levels in the middle of the day. Malhotra further unravels the morning coffee mystery. Regular caffeine intake in the morning can lead to dependence. Over time, you might need more caffeine to feel the same level of alertness. This increased caffeine consumption triggers higher adenosine levels and a subsequent fall in energy levels. But there's more to it than just feeling tired. Malhotra warns that drinking coffee immediately after waking can cause a spike in cortisol levels, a hormone that is linked to stress. This could disrupt the body's natural production cycle and potentially contribute to stress-related health issues. Dr. Srinivasan, on the other hand, emphasizes the role of cortisol in our morning routine. Cortisol, he explains, is crucial to waking us up in the morning as it aligns with the body's internal clock. Introducing caffeine, which can artificially elevate cortisol, might disrupt this natural process. This could potentially affect sleep patterns and overall well-being, particularly if you consume large quantities of caffeine or are sensitive to it, he cautions. He also seconds Robin's suggestion to delay coffee consumption in the morning. According to him, the optimal impact of coffee might be better realized if its consumption is delayed until after the body's natural cortisol surge. On the topic of Mel Robbins' reel about the adverse effects of drinking coffee on an empty stomach, Malhotra nods in agreement to an extent. She explains that cortisol levels usually peak between 7 and 8 in the morning and steadily drop throughout the day, reaching their lowest point in the middle of the night. So it seems that first cup of coffee could be setting us up for an energy crash and potentially disrupting our body's natural rhythms. Cortisol, our stress hormone, plays a significant role in our wakefulness. But does morning coffee disrupt this? Cortisol, often known as the stress hormone, has an essential role in our daily rhythm. Its levels naturally peak in the morning, helping us to wake up and prepare for the day ahead. This morning surge of cortisol is part of our body's internal clock, or the circadian rhythm, which is aligned with the day-night cycle. Now, when we introduce caffeine into this morning mix, things can get a bit complicated. You see, caffeine has the potential to artificially elevate cortisol levels. And while you might think, great, more cortisol, more alertness. The story is not that simple. When cortisol levels are artificially elevated, it can disrupt our body's natural rhythm. This means that our internal clock, which has been finely tuned over millions of years of evolution, can get thrown off balance. The potential consequences of this disruption can be significant, affecting our sleep patterns and overall well-being. But how exactly does this happen? Well, when we drink coffee first thing in the morning, it can cause a spike in our cortisol levels. This spike can interfere with the natural drop in cortisol that usually occurs later in the day, potentially leading to feelings of stress and anxiety. Over time, this can lead to a disrupted sleep cycle, leaving us feeling tired and groggy during the day. Furthermore, individuals who are particularly sensitive to caffeine may experience these effects more intensely. This is why some people can drink coffee all day without any apparent side effects, while others may feel jittery after just one cup. So, while that morning coffee might help us feel awake, it could also be messing with our body's natural wake-up call. Remember, our bodies are incredibly complex, and even something as simple as a morning coffee can have a significant impact on our overall health and well-being. So, next time you reach for that morning brew, you might want to consider the cortisol connection. Given these facts, should we delay our morning coffee? It's a question that's been brewing in our minds, and the answer may not be as simple as a yes or no. Let's take a moment to percolate over the expert's suggestion to delay coffee consumption until after the body's natural cortisol surge for optimal impact. This idea is based on the premise that our bodies naturally produce cortisol, a hormone that helps us wake up and start our day. It's like nature's own version of a caffeine kickstart. Now, imagine what happens when you introduce coffee, a known stimulant, into this finely tuned process. The caffeine in coffee can cause a spike in cortisol levels, essentially giving you a double dose of wake-up juice. Sounds good in theory, right? But what goes up must come down. When the effects of the caffeine wear off, you're left with an excess of cortisol in your system. This can result in feelings of anxiety and stress, and can potentially disrupt your body's natural rhythm. Not exactly the ideal way to start the day. So what's the solution? According to our experts, it might be as simple as delaying that first cup of joe. By waiting until after the body's natural cortisol surge, you allow your body to wake up naturally before introducing the stimulant. This could potentially lead to a more balanced energy level throughout the day, without the dreaded midday crash. But as with all things in life, moderation is key. Drinking coffee in moderation, coupled with a healthy lifestyle, can still allow you to enjoy your morning brew without the potential negative effects. Ultimately, it's about understanding your body and making the choices that best support your health and well-being. If that means delaying your morning coffee, then it might be worth giving it a try. Perhaps tomorrow, instead of reaching for that coffee pot as soon as you wake up, take a moment to listen to your body. Let it wake up naturally. Then, when you're ready, enjoy that fresh cup of coffee. Delaying that first cup of coffee might just help us make the most of our natural energy and keep our stress levels in check. Who knows, your morning routine might just take on a whole new flavor. So, what's the final verdict on our morning coffee habit? It's clear that our beloved morning brew comes with a few caveats. First, there's the potential for energy crashes. When we start our day with coffee, we're setting ourselves up for a caffeine-induced energy slump later in the day. It's what the experts call rebound tiredness. Then there's the risk of caffeine dependency. Over time, we may need more caffeine to feel normal, causing a corresponding increase in our body's adenosine levels and an eventual drop in energy levels. Next, we have to consider the disruption of cortisol levels. Drinking coffee immediately after waking can lead to a spike in this stress hormone, potentially disrupting our body's natural production cycle. And finally, the idea of delaying morning coffee. The optimal impact of coffee might be better realized if its consumption is delayed until after our body's natural cortisol surge. As always, it's about finding balance. Maybe tomorrow morning you'll think twice before reaching for that first cup of coffee,